all these leaders, many of them actually, are talking of the fact that they want to do what Raila wished for them to do, and that is to stick to the broad-based government. What are the chances of survival for the broad-based government moving forward? President William Ruto acknowledges that it was about Raila's coming upon his request and not the people that he came with. Do you think the people that he came with are strong enough to continue with the help that Raila had for President William Ruto, or theirs is just a game of making sure that they have enough butter for their bread?
Right. I think the stability of the broad-based government is a wait-and-see moment, you know, post-Raila, right? It's a wait-and-see moment. But the truth is, there's definitely going to be some tension here and there because there is a recalibration of politics post-Raila. That's definitely is happening and is bound to happen in the coming days, in the days ahead, you know. And so, so that's the wait and see. But something else I wanted to note is regarding the speeches and all that happened at the funeral, just the entire funeral arrangement. I think we really have to give it up to President Ruto and the Kenya government. You listen to how he was narrating from when he got the news to date and to when he learned about Raila's 72-hour will to be buried within 72 hours and all that has to happen, including getting the body from India to Kenya and juggling culture, religion, and delivering such a profound state funeral like we saw today. I think we must thank the president for that, you know, and yeah, so let's wait and see where things are gonna head post Raila. But I can only wish them well. I can only wish the ODM party well, that it sticks. It's a very significant party in the country's democracy and development journey. And if it remains strong and committed to the ideals that Raila stood for, of democracy, justice, fairness, and constitutionalism, then I think that would be great, because that is the Kenya that we want.
Okay.
Yeah.
In the spirit of appeasing the dead, Dr. now that Steve brings it up, many have appreciated the president and, say, the government for according Raila a state funeral, which even his father, you know, in his death, I mean, some people negotiated for in vain. And some actually have castigated that to say that because you knew that you were not so good to him when he was alive, now you're trying to be nice at the point of death to cover up for the negativities and all that. Just what is this? And do you suppose everyone that speaks of Raila Odinga is genuine, especially when it comes to the question of politics, as to their utterances and all of them showering him with praises?
I think there's a cardinal rule, unwritten, that we do not speak ill of the departed. We become a little conservative with the truth, and sometimes we also stretch the truth a little bit. After all, that person will not come back to be a threat to us. Said and done, I think the whole process was really befitting. There were a few chaotic moments here and there, which I think we could attribute to the fast pace and the limited timelines. Good words have been said. Most of them actually would tend to reflect the true Raila Odinga that I have personally known in both public and private spaces. And there are things we tend to take for granted. For example, myself having had the opportunity to work closely with Raila Odinga both within NASA and earlier on when he was Prime Minister. And I served as head of communications in his campaign effort in 2012, 2013. I also had the opportunity to have the Odinga family opening their doors for me to sit down with him one-on-one, occasionally listening to him. I've had the privilege to write speeches for him, which speeches he used to good end. And one of the things that I learned was that he was extremely knowledgeable. You would give him a speech which he adopts and which he's going to read, but somewhere in the midstream he has a brainwave and he goes now ad libitum, expanding and expounding on the speech and introducing even dimensions that you didn't think about, some which you didn't know about. So the things which have been said about him are things which are by and large valid. The quiet, shy, self-effacing individual, when you meet him in those quiet spaces, having dropped the gusto that he actually would take with him into private, public spaces, the individual who is able to enjoy watching a good football match on TV, and he's so vastly informed about, for example, the history of football in the country, in the world, on the continent. So I think the things that have been said by and large have been true. But when you look at the brickbats that people were throwing around, you can't be very sure who was throwing which brickbat at who, because when they talk about those who have vilified him in the past, and you listen to the person talking, you remember one moment when they also vilified him. When they talk about betrayal, you can also remember one moment when they betrayed him. But I suppose that is the lot of funerals. People must say things that are politically correct or funerary correct. And the reality that we begin to live thereafter could pan out to be quite different.
Okay.
All right. Something else that, that we must also really call out is that didn't go well, the 3 lives that were lost, I think at Kasarani during the body viewing, the viewing of his body there. And I hope that the families of the 3 really get justice. We hope the government will do the right thing, investigate if there was any police officer who was involved in it. And definitely there was, because it was shooting, then they face the full force of the law. Because that is what Raila would have wanted. You know, he'd lived his life fighting for justice. People who encountered police brutality, he was very much against that. And I think one way of keeping his legacy would be to deliver justice to these families that lost their loved ones.
All right. Lots of feedback. I think I'll be taking some of them, but also they relate to what we're discussing. And I want to ask Prof, a student of Raila or of Moi, and I know a student can have very many teachers, and that is okay, because if truly Ruto is a student of Raila, and in politics for that matter, then he must have done well to have delivered a student who is president today.
So a teacher feels very nice if a student can be better than a teacher.
Yes.
Says they did a good job, that kind of thing. But I think he's more a student of Moi than Raila.
Yeah.
Ali Mazrui once wrote something about dead heroes.
Okay.
They don't answer back. So everybody tries to be a friend of the
dead.
of the dead. And he gave examples of Patrice Lumumba and Shombe, that even Shombe went to lay a wreath on Lumumba.
Yeah.
So that does happen. So in funerals, everybody tries to be seen to be a good friend of this person. Some of it is exaggerated a little bit. Yes, they did interact. There's no question about that. Was it that impactful? That's a different matter. But I think he learned some of his lessons when he was operating with Cyrus Jirongo in YK 92. And from there, when Moi disbanded the YK immediately, because they were said to be having some strange ideas. You know, so he destroyed it. And one of the people affected very hard was Ruto. And he found a way of hitting back by getting rid of Moi's, one of his best friends, Ruben Chesire.
Yeah.
So he did something and he got in. And he kept on showing this fighting spirit to the point where he was accommodated into the government. And in 2002, he stood with Uhuru Kenyatta when all the others left. Yeah. And his argument was that if Moi has to go, then his age mates should go. The age mates were Simeon Nyachai and Mwai Kibaki. They should get out of the way so that the dot-coms, they call themselves the dot-coms, they should be the ones to take over. So he was more with Uhuru in all these things. And it was not a surprise when they came back together under different circumstances. So he is more of a Moi student than Ruto student. I mean, Raila student.
Okay.
He's more of that. And but he's a very good politician. Whatever one says about Ruto, he's a crafty politician. And he knows how to gauge the moment. And right now, he said it himself, that the reason, one of the reasons he decided to give a state funeral to Raila. So he adopted Raila's language. He's the people's president. He may not be the president of the country, but so therefore give him a state funeral, which was more dramatic than all the other state funerals we've had. We have had at least 3.
Yes.
And when you compare those 3, and this one, which is not official, this was more dramatic than the others.
Right.
In many ways. One, the scripts were not followed properly. We had ordinary people. Some of them look like Barack. I don't know whether you were there.
They could be my sons.
They were jumping in the aeroplane.
Or daughters.
How you get through the airport to go to the aeroplane is a mystery. But they did.
Yeah.
And today they broke into the family.
To the family.
It's a family thing. So this is unusual in itself. And it's a story that can be told many times. This unknown happening changed the schedule. Instead of go to leave funeral to rest, and then to Parliament for the MPs to look good looking at the body, they were diverted to where?
Kasarani.
To Kasarani. That was unusual. So essentially, the unknown took control. And so you had poor Kindiki working day and night to change the schedule because you don't know what will happen next. And so it was very dramatic in all those things. And you cannot compare to what happened with Moi or Kibaki's
Jomo
Kenyatta's state funerals, which then added more memorability. So when you talk about state funerals, more people will be talking about the Odinga funeral as opposed to Kenyatta, Moi, or Kibaki.
Yeah.
Because those were not dramatic. This one was very dramatic in every way. And if today, as we are known, even if they told people not to go to where the mausoleum is, they went anyway and pushed the security out of the way.
Yeah, but we do that all the time.
But does it change the history?
Don't we? Yeah. Just allow me.
Right, proceed.
Just as a footnote.
Okay.
Yes.
Footnotes are allowed.
Yes, footnotes are allowed in these things. In one of the years, I forget which one exactly, it must have been either in the late 70s or early 90s, we had Franco Luanzo Luambo Makiadi coming to play in Kenya. And the chosen place was the stadium in Kisumu. Initially, they were the curtain raisers, which went on for about 2 or so hours. Then it was the moment for Franco Luanzo Makiadi, the maestro of TPOK jazz. And the moment the guitar strummed 1, 2 notes, the whole wall of the stadium came down. And the entire Kisumu town was in the stadium. So we do that all the time. And people should also recognize that...
some of the time, not all the time.
All the time. When we want to watch Professor, President Moi used to come to Nyayo Stadium here to watch matches between, say, Harambee Stars and somebody, or Gor Mahia and someone. And he would get to a point where he would say, fungueni milango, watu waingie.
Yeah, that he did, yes.
Because they were going to get in anyway. And they would get in with the wall. But again, you've got to appreciate how we mourn, we people from the Lake Basin, and quite proudly so. It's part of our culture. It's for us to be very expressive. We are celebrating this particular individual's life. You haven't seen us cutting banana trees and bringing down whole plantations, beating up animals, and so on. You saw the elders engaging in teroburu, chasing away the spirits. And Linda Alela, I was here with you a few months ago talking about spirits. I'm not going to replay the whole thing. It is in your archives. You can recall it.
Nyawawa, yeah.
And yes, and ask yourself what I said about Nyawawa when we were here, when I said what was not done and what should have been done, and I rest my case.
All right.
Okay, as he rests his case,
Okay.
let him rest his case. You know, we were talking about state funerals,
Yes.
Right.
not about musicians like Franco.
It's part of it.
Just drawing parallels.
You know, so
It's part
so
of it.
we
Professor, things are not in isolation. Eh?
But one of the things to be a lesson to learn from this week, the Raila funeral thing.
Yeah.
I think if I was in government, I'd be worried.
Okay.
Yeah. You have all these people who, once they decide, they are coming in. Yeah.
It's their way or the highway.
It becomes very very difficult.
That is the point, Professor, that there's the capacity. The citizens have got the capacity. And when you look at the national population, this is a very small percentage that is just invading spaces. In fact, if you're in government, Professor Steve, you ought to be very worried.
Yeah.
The security sector in this country needs attention. A few days earlier, somebody materialized outside State House with a bow and an arrow, and they killed one of the sentinels. At the same time, a civilian was reported at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport to have strangled a policeman to death. There is laxity in security, and the government needs to ask itself whether it has...
What it is doing.
But if you'd rate Nyanza, at least for today and yesterday, do you think there's some level of change, maturity that was exhibited? I mean, people expected for it to have probably been worse.
A stereotype. Those are stereotypes about Nyanza.
Okay. And are we now saying over and done with the stereotypes?
No, we are not done with stereotypes.
Not just yet.
But the practicality of this, what happened this week, is very serious.
Yeah.
So the government needs to rethink its security approach. And it's not so much the guns, because they have, so they even got some drones they borrowed from Turkey, bought.
Yeah.
For this kind of thing.
Okay.
But that's not going to do it. So how do we approach the public to deal with this thing? Because if it is not properly addressed, I'm afraid
and hence my question to Steve earlier on, as to whether then these individuals are going to help in the maintenance of peace, because President William Ruto speaks of the question of peace and how Raila was a unifying factor, and now just moving forward, so it's security elements to it, how he manages the country, how he manages the Gen Zs with a kind of animosity that we witnessed.
Yeah, I think we have to remember that the JKIA airport, which is one of the most guarded property, was breached by citizens. They moved in and even got into the plane that was carrying the body. And where does that happen? Where else does that happen? I think that is a very serious breach, and I agree with Profs here that I hope our security forces have picked some lessons and that can be used to better strengthen, beef up our security, especially on critical infrastructure like the JKIA. Yeah, that's very important. And I think that it's true that the government or the president should really be worried about what transpired, and in terms of what is called the power of the people. That if they decide to channel their energy toward a wrong direction, it can get really bad. And so I think this example, coupled with the Gen Z protest last year, should send very worrying signal to the president, and I hope he takes note.
Okay.
And these are things that are not just happening out of the blues. There are root causes to these matters. Remember, we have a population that is 80% youth, and the most unemployed population in the region. And we have to create jobs for these people. Now we have a lot of companies that are leaving the country because of policy issues. I think it's time the president really rethinks about the issue of job creation, industrialization in this country, and create policies that builds the confidence of investors to come into the country. It's not the government's business to create jobs. The government job is to create an enabling environment that gives private sector the incentive to come and invest here. That's how we're gonna create jobs. And I think that will really help us tackle this menace.
Okay.
We have over 30,000 young people who graduate, very smart people from universities and colleges every year. And these are people who are very smart, very tech savvy, and it's a blessing and a curse, and we must address it as a matter of urgency as a country.
I still want you to hold the conch. We talk politics of Nyanza region and a bit of the Raila or the Odinga clan or the Raila Mulu family. We are ethnocentric in nature as a people in the country, and we still have not gotten away from the politics of tribe, even though we appreciate what the Gen Zs are doing today to show us that they're tribeless. But we still have this one's deep-rooted. What would you make of the possibilities of the Nyanza politics holding ground as firm as what Raila, exhibited moving forward?
Right, as they say, politics is local, and it's I think there's nothing wrong with being tribal, with tribalism. It's only bad when it's negative, when it's used against other people in a negative way. And I think it's okay for people to organize in how they feel best in their local context. Like I said, politics is local. But I know that with the demise of Raila, who was a unifying factor in the Nyanza region, there's going to be a lot of dynamics moving forward. There's going to be a lot of realignment that's going to happen. And my hope is, I'm personally from that region.
Your name betrays you.
Sorry?
Your name betrays you.
Yeah, I'm from a place called Gem in Siaya County. And my hope is that the leaders and the community in that region will find a way to be organized and find a unifying voice that gets them forward in terms of getting into the national politics and development of the country.
Most of the youthful figures I host here are always very excited, saying that they're going to throw themselves into all this game of politics. You're not?
I don't think so. I'm very okay in my profession, but I'm an active citizen, so I'm happy to contribute to policies and programs that bring development and bring my experience from the continent, to support development, not just in my region, but across the country. I'm doing a lot of stuff across the counties with county governments.
Okay.
And that is very fulfilling for me.
All right. Dr. Prof here brings us to understanding the demeanor or perhaps the address of Raila Jr. And he says that this is a person to watch. What will it take to revive that spirit? Or maybe the spirit lives on of Raila Odinga, and in particular with his children and even Mama Ida.
Yeah, you've got to look at that family from first the vantage point of Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, who was a very principled individual who occupied the public landscape and loomed large there with a given brand of political inclination that was pro-people. And then you have got to look at his sons, Raila Odinga, Oburu, who in earlier years actually served as a councillor in the county council of Kisumu. And you see that there is the same slant. And without a doubt, I think some of these things run through families. If you are footballers, there will be someone who plays football. If you are in the political space, people will get there and do politics. And it is unlikely that they will move away from the tradition. If you read Jaramogi is not yet Uhuru, you will see that because of his non-conformism, sometimes people thought that he was odd. People vilified him, they satanized him, but he didn't mind. He remained true to the code that he had elected, to the creed. And Raila Odinga the same. In point of fact, you asked earlier on about whether people were being genuine in the things they were saying about him. And many times you would have thought that he was the devil incarnate. So they are going to get into this space. Junior is going to play a political role. He has grown up seeing this role model at home. They are sensitized, they are politically conscious. Is going to get into that space. Winnie is already in that space, and she has promised that she's coming back home. She's not going to wait to be nominated and be sent to Iyala. She's probably already identified the space. We have seen that the sister Ruth is already there, having been elected twice in different roles, deputy governor, as a woman county rep, and she will be there. If you are an Odinga, your DNA is the DNA of politics. It runs in the blood, and it's going to flow all the way down into future generations. The only thing that one hopes is that the strand of the politics remains one of firm focus on the public good. I'm afraid that the invitation that I'm seeing being extended towards ODM, and they're being told, come here now in this broad-based thing, do not ask any questions because Baba said that this is the place to be. That is not Raila Odinga. Okay. He's not going to get into that space and accept just any hogwash. When he went into Kanu and Kanu did not do the right things, he got out and dealt Kanu a blow that has left them staggering. 23 years later, they have not recovered from that blow. So when you are within that broad-based space, you must also remember the principles that Mr. Odinga took with him into those spaces.
Right.
And when it didn't work, he relocated and he didn't hesitate. So I expect that his offspring will be following in those footsteps.
Okay. Prof. Wanga, Orengo, Ruth, Otiende Amolo, I have not heard much of him. Orengo, Badi, Odinga, the Odinga family, of course. Junet, the christened black sheep, as he would say today. The likes of Wandai, Babu,
I thought he was a
Mili.
cow.
Well,
Now he's a sheep.
he says so. He says, Baba used to tell me that, there must be a black sheep in any, cattle, of course. And all these people. Nyanza politics is intact?
Well, they are competing
Okay.
as to who gets more mileage. And you could see between Mili Odhiambo and Wanga, who is making more loud voice and trying to make some score. Of course, there are those others like Otieno and the lawyer, very quiet actually,
Right.
except when he speaks. He's very composed, so he's got his own space. Badi, well, he's happy being a minister of money.
And
So he doesn't want to
fighting hard to protect his bread.
to protect the space, that bridge. You know, and they Wandai, and there are people when they talk, you can see them, they're protecting a particular instead of pushing forward. I think you mentioned Orengo. Orengo would like to come out as the leader of something.
Right.
And Otieno Molo would also want to be a leader, but he does not make as much noise as Orengo. As for Wandai and Badi, these are surviving people in the whole thing. If I may add a little bit, well, we were talking about the Odingas, and there are so many of them.
Right.
Apart from Junior and Winnie, there was a young man who made us laugh, and he's called Jaramogi. I don't know whether you remember that.
Yes.
Yeah. That young man made a very interesting comment. He wanted to drink the uji that Uhuru drank with so that he can have the courage to.
Yes.
Which means that he may have some aspirations.
Yes.
And maybe he needs to take lessons from Uhuru and how he gets that uji, so that he can. So there are others.
Yes.
And there were even some very young, small ones. You know, you could see any one of those
Could be something.
could come out, any of them.
Right.
And they might even surpass their seniors. And you have the public putting their future on that one. Because leaders, sometimes they are nurtured,
Right.
but sometimes they just sprout out,
Yeah.
depending on the crisis.
Okay.
Because crises produce leaders.
Right.
And not, so when a crisis does come up, right now there's no crisis.
Yeah.
There is.
Which one?
Right.
There's no crisis.
Succession is a
Yes.
crisis.
So they are going to play games now.
Yeah.
But eventually, when a real crisis comes up,
There's going to
somebody will emerge.
Okay. We still are not in crisis. All right. Well, we're waiting for
We
the
are
real
not in
crisis.
any crisis.
30 seconds to close.
I think another leader that is underrated from the region is Senator Kajwang.
Okay.
I think he's a very smart, very forward-looking leader.
Right.
and someone who can attract admiration from across the country. Yeah, but having said that, should I give my closing comment?
Please, 30
I
seconds.
think for me today, I just want to I came here to just thank Raila Amolo Odinga and to tell him thank you for the new constitution. Thank you, Raila, for the devolution. Thank you for all you did for the country. You never gave up on Kenya, even when it was easy to do so. So thank you very much, Raila, and rest in peace.
Okay, 30 seconds, Doc.
Thank you very much. I think it's just to enjoin myself with those valedictory sentiments to recognize that Raila was on this landscape. He did his bit, and that's why we celebrate him, and to accept all of us that it's a journey. We are just passing through this life,
Right.
and to try to do good while we are there.
Okay.
Like the good man of God said yesterday, let us try to do what is good and to be remembered for having done
Right,
good.
right.
You want some 30 seconds, Prof?
Yeah, thanks. Well, Raila is a man to remember for being unique. Somebody who was able to become indispensable despite the odds. There are not many people like that, and they don't come every day.
Yeah.
So that's why we are saying that it will be difficult to say who. But somebody once in a while comes up, and he towers over the others. For 30 years, Raila politically towered over all the others. Whether he won or not is not the issue. But he was. You cannot talk about Kenyan politics without Raila.
Right,
Simple as that.
right.
And you can talk about Kenyan politics without all these others, but not without Raila.
Right.
And that is part of his legacy,
Yeah.
being the indispensable man in politics.
Thank you. And Dr. here reminds me that, yes, he's still going to make headlines in the next years to come, and therefore we're looking forward to see just how politics will pan out in the country, even as many continue to remember the legacy of Raila Amolo Odinga. Lots of feedback from you. Edgar Taifa says, I appreciate and happy to see Dr. Barak, Steve Ogutu, as well as Professor reflect on the enigma. And Kalisto say Raila did not use money to buy supporters, so people must stop lying to us that they played this game, with Raila that much. Perhaps, referring to, I don't know, the student teaches something. Wengine wanasema, well, rest in peace Raila Amolo Odinga. Babu, vile wanasema, and Sifuna must stay put. We will not allow for the other oldies to shake them in any way. They are the generation that is, and that they're going to paint a great future for the country. And so many of you have sent your feedback, of course, messages of condolences to the family and appreciating the likes of the family, as well as saying that Mama Ida, it is time for you to stand up and take up the mantle. We appreciate all of you, and we say asante sana for the great comments. We know that we were not able to capture everything, but the conversation continues on our socials and, of course, right here on TV47, the other broadcasts. My name is Linda Alela. It was great having you, appreciating the entire team that has made this wall-to-wall coverage a success. Also appreciating the sign language interpreter who was with me, Catherine Simaloye. Look forward to see you again, and I'll leave you with this clip that rounds up the entire.
to say